Welcome to the Halo Effect, hospitality stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. Hospitality isn't just our profession, it's our passion. With decades of experience and countless stories to share, we've navigated the highs and lows of this dynamic industry, not just as professionals, but as a husband and wife team tackling the challenges of business and life together. This podcast is your invitation to step behind the curtain of the hospitality world. We'll share real experiences, lessons learned, and the moments that have shaped our journey, offering inspiration and insights for anyone walking a similar path. Whether you're just starting out or have years under your belt, we're here to remind you that every challenge is an opportunity and every story has the power to inspire.
January often acts as a catalyst for wellness resets. Guests might be reducing alcohol, increasing fitness, trying new supplements, or paying closer attention to sleep and routine. In this episode, we explore how hotels can support these intentions in a way that feels meaningful, helping travellers maintain their good habits and feel their best while away from home.
January. We're still in January. A little bit left in it, but I know a lot of our friends and some of us have been doing a bit of dry January so far.
Some of us have been doing more of a damp January.
Damp, yeah. Do you know that 8 million people in the UK participate in January, dry January each year?
Wow, it's quite...
Which is a lot. I wonder how many are still going in February. And in a UK survey, 39% of 18 to 24-year-olds reported not drinking alcohol at all, making them a group less engaged with the traditional Irish and British drinking patterns. And gym memberships, I'm sure it's no surprise that they see a massive spike in January also. And again, a bit of a sharp drop off by February. And then an interesting one from McKinsey's Future of Wellness. Their research consistently highlights that January wellness behaviour is driven less by aesthetics and more by control, mental clarity, stress reduction. I bet there's a bit of peer pressure in there as well. I bet there's a bit of that. Whether it's is it peer pressure or partner pressure as well. I would imagine. But there's definite pressure getting ready for the summer holidays, getting all those sort of things.
That kind of big reset. And often people are booking their holidays on them Blue Monday for their sort of year ahead. So I think there's that kind of I need to be beach ready for the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Although I'm not sure you can do those ads anymore.
No,
they've got a bit of and supplements as well.
Oh, I love a supplement.
I don't get it. But they say in the UK, 83% of under 35s now are using vitamin supplements compared with 65% of over 55s. So it's certainly going that way. Younger adults definitely engaging in that kind of area, and it's not just creating for rugby players. It's a bit of everything, isn't it?
It's really interesting. And I think, relating back to the earlier McKinsey's Future of Wellness research, the mental clarity, stress reduction, I think there's a lot around the clarity and focus piece. And I can't start a meeting without checking what supplements everyone's taking these days. So
you've got to clarify before every meeting starts.
Come with your supplement list. But I think certainly magnesium, lion's mane, which is kind of part of the mushroom family. There's a huge growth in and I know supplements often kind of have their moment and almost become trendy, but I think there's a big focus on supplements to improve mental clarity, to reduce stress, to include improve productivity. And I know personally I've been taking magnesium and I do find it keeps me really focused in the day, and then in the evening it kind of closes all of those tabs open in the brain a little bit, together with my ashwagandha. But it's something I think that, you mentioned the kind of younger generation and focusing on supplements. I think that sort of preventative care and I think, just really trying to kind of improve your overall well-being, and supplements are a great route to that. I think we're just much more aware, and I think combined with the decrease in alcohol consumption that we see, I think, that that there is a response for hotels, for restaurants around, okay, how do we serve people who are, slightly more conscious, drinking less, more conscious around supplements. And I think there's some really interesting things that hotels can do with their programming, their menu engineering, that can support, this trend and this movement.
Yeah, I think the figures on functional mushrooms and lion's mane in particular, the global market, nearly $500 million in 2024. I don't know what the final figures are for 2025, but they're saying by 2024 or 2034, it's going to grow again 13.5% per year.
Wow.
And in the UK, the total mushroom sector, which includes the lion mane and some other medicinal mushrooms, it's up to $1.85 billion in 2024 and projected to grow to around 4.5 billion in that period of time. Like that is
huge, isn't it? Insane.
That is massive. I remember when we went on that little mushroom foraging course and we were finding some mushrooms all over the place. It is such a fascinating area, and we know some people who are doing some incredible things with mushrooms, not just as supplements but as building materials and all sorts of
incredible.
Things, which would be you should really look into more. We'll pop a little link in there, but it is a fascinating area, and if that is the trend that it's going, it is something that I think hotels want to be sort of aware of. Because people are bringing the supplements into hotels. I think even as simply as when people leave things around in their rooms and stuff like that, and the housekeepers are cleaning up in their rooms, making sure that they kind of understand what these things are. They need to be protected and kept dry and kept safe and all that kind of thing in guest rooms. But also when it comes to menu creation, as you said, understanding what people are looking at and what they're wanting to put in their bodies, it can be really interesting what more can be done in terms of menu creation. It is fascinating.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So any intentions, any catalysts for your well-being this year, Michael?
I'm not a big resolution kind of New Year's resolution person. I think one thing I saw recently was do 100 push-ups a day, as a simple health and fitness thing. To start with, doing 100 push-ups a day and watch how it gets easier day on day. So I've yet to start that. But I also I think the kettlebell thing would be a good one as well. Maybe I've yet to start that as well.
All intentions.
I did that before Christmas and felt sick.
Yeah, I think you're in bed for about a week.
From doing that. So whether there's intention, yes, I'd say maybe I intend to do that at some point this year. But I didn't activate it from the 1st of January and just keep going. Ash, what have you got on your list?
Apart from an ever-growing list of supplements I want to try, I've got a whole list. I've got a list by my desk. Whenever I speak to someone in like a Teams meeting and they mention something, I've got a list and I'm literally writing them all down. So I'm going to be rattling around the house.
Get it on your Christmas list. And
so I think, just more awareness around, different changes, body, mind, etc., and that kind of supplement. For me, it's just that consistency, regular exercise. I love doing my boot camps, so I do get up really early in the mornings. An amazing group of women head down to the beach, and come rain, shine, frost, weather warnings, we're out there bracing the elements, and do a really great session. And as much as it's difficult getting up in the dark and the cold, especially in January, you do feel amazing afterwards. So I think for me, just consistency with exercise, rattling around with my supplements, and
it's the bags kind of just lined up. I was like, what is this?
And then more deliveries arrive with more things. But I do think, I do need to be careful. I'm not just kind of layering supplement upon supplement. I need to just but I think because
diet obviously is a big thing. If things are covered in your diet,
these things can be covered exactly. So but it's good crack.
You could just drink a pint of bone broth instead of getting all your
I've got a good
collagen,
recommendation for bone broth as well. That's on my list. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think for me it's about consistency and not giving myself some kind of digestible, literally, and achievable targets that I can just do throughout the year and consistently feel good. So I mean, I think, the wellness reset in January, I think, and we've kind of made a joke about New Year's resolutions and not necessarily keeping to them. And I think, it's about, I suppose, often about that building it into your routine and the small wins and giving yourself something that is achievable, but it does feel like a bit of a reset and a sort of change in a healthy habit. And, I suppose when we come to, thinking about that from a hotel or restaurant, kind of hospitality environment, I think, it's really a fine balance with hotels offering choice and offering that extension of good habits that their guests are putting into practice in their own lives. So when they come to stay with them, they're able to continue with that and even, able to maybe learn something new or try something different, and that becomes part of their routine. But it's not about being instructive and kind of trying to, like you see, I don't know, some kind of spa hotels, and you're like the menu would be quite limited in terms of what it offers. So that could be for some guests a little bit too restrictive. So I think it's about creating that kind of platform and opportunity for guests to explore, and also to continue with the routines that they've set, but not being too I suppose direct and
so Harvard Health Publishing, they talked about habit change succeeds when environments reduce friction. I think that's really interesting. So willpower can only go so far, but when someone offers you a glass of champagne at a hotel event, this is maybe working at a hotel, let's say, offers you a glass of champagne at a hotel event, like, how strong is your willpower there? Because there's politeness, and there's, I've been doing dry January up until now, and now I've offered a drink. Let's just have the drink, and then it's done. So that's fine. But I think there's also an element of the environment that you have. I mean, nobody wants anyone telling them what to do, but also if the environment kind of supports making healthy choices, then that's not that could be something that hotels can help with. For example, we recently treated family members to a gift and a stay in a hotel, and mentioned that they don't drink, but they're celebrating an event, and the gift in the hotel was a bottle of champagne. Now, I know from working in hotels that a bottle of champagne is a very easy thing to put in a room, because you have a big bucket of ice, and it sit there, and it doesn't need to be covered. It doesn't need to be anything. So it's a nice
gift, and often it can be even in an SOP somewhere that says our VIP amenity is this
bottle of champagne for this. Now, I think they probably missed the note where I asked them, mentioned that they didn't drink, but also there's a lot of people that don't drink in January. Like as we just said, so many people are doing dry January. Is a bottle of champagne the right amenity to put in a guest room in January, without checking what their requests were? But maybe not. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's a note that you can say, if you would like to have something, let us know. We'd like to give you, or maybe it depends on the hotel. But the more you get to know your guests, the more you'll understand. But it's very easy to drop into these sort of default standard operating procedures, and it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. And just a small tweak on there might just be the difference between a guest feeling empowered to make their own choices, rather than kind of corralled into doing what everyone else does. And it's and I think more so in January than anywhere else.
No, it's so true. And I think just kind of taking a moment to exactly think about your guests and their mindset, and perhaps just adapting that accordingly. But I think, particularly in January, when that is just such, very much at the forefront of people's minds. So I suppose, that leads us into our kind of next point around, how hotels can support those sort of wellness intentions of their guests. And I mean, there's some incredible examples, and the again, to kind of pull on a really interesting stat. So the Global Wellness Institute estimates that wellness tourism market will exceed 1.3 trillion by 2027, and most of it's coming from integrated wellness, not necessarily medical or retreat styles stays. So it's kind of like integrating that into the whole experience. And fantastic examples, and we're very lucky to work with some wonderful clients, and one of them is the incredible Inhabit hotels, which wellness is just such part of their brand DNA and their brand pillars. Everything from creating really kind of sleep enhancements across all of the different activities, their in-house programming with specialists, whether it's kind of breath work, whether it's gongs, whether it's stretching, and then their restaurant partner Yotown is like kind of plant forward menu. So they do have meat, but it's all exceptionally responsibly sourced. Their drinks menu are incredible, and we kind of touched on mushrooms earlier, but like these adaptogenic menus where there's kind of sort of mushroom coffees, and it's all like integrated into the menu. So it's and they do it in a way that it feels really kind of exciting to try, because it's sort of described in a way it kind of I think it's done in a really kind of accessible way. Perhaps you're not familiar, or you've not tried, or perhaps you are, and you know exactly what you're looking for. So I think it's aimed at whether you're just exploring this for the first time, or whether you're very comfortable, and So I think it's done in a really kind of intentional way.
I think some of my best ever hospitality experiences, and often it is traveling when I'm doing it, but is when I try something new that I've never sort of tried. In fact, I'll go even further. When I see a menu and there's something on there that I've never had before, it's often the first thing that I look at and that consider getting. I get very bored ordering the same thing. I mean, I'm not go to a place and say, oh, I'll have the burger, or I'll have the
this is what I always order.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there's alligator on the menu. I'll have that. And often they've run out, or they haven't defrosted it, or whatever it might be. But it's I think when you have those really interesting things on the menu, I think outside of a sort of a wellness aspect, I think it is interesting. And I know you've mentioned that Inhabit talk about quiet wellness, and I think we could probably do a whole episode on it, like how wellness is kind of just a thing that everyone has to do, whether you have a spa or not, whether you have a whether it's your core pillar is wellness. I think wellness is just clearly more and more important to more and more people.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that, and I hear it thrown around a little bit as well. So people say, well, what is our wellness offering? What is it? And sometimes it's very minimal, and sometimes it's more and it's very opaque. But sometimes it is a bit more upfront and right as part of the pillars of the business. And I think when people like Six Senses and Inhabit make it such a core part of the business, that's when it's really, really fascinating.
Yeah,
but it applies to everyone.
Key pillar. Well, yeah, it's really interesting, and I think again, there's such a broad spectrum of hotels, resorts, and I think Six Senses, the Soneva resorts, that kind of barefoot luxury, and so I think there's as you say, there's that sort of distinct wellness resort hotel, whether I don't know, Maldives or Thailand, but then Bali. I think there's a lot of but bringing a lot of those elements into more of an urban retreat, or kind of adapting it to more sort of city life, so you are sort of haven within a busy city. So I think it's really interesting to see how, as you say, that the sort of wellness element can be something that's quite if you don't necessarily have a spa, there's still a lot that you can do, whether that's in the room or working with the partners, or looking at your location as well. So I think having a really clear guest map that sort of shares running, walking routes, how to get to the nearest park, to kind of build in that sort of natural and experience nature.
Sort of IV drips and things like that in the room. I think that's always I mean, I'm not tempted by that myself. I remember seeing an IV drip menu in a room once, and it had spelling mistakes all over it. I was like, I don't know if I want you sticking me with a needle if you can't spell IV. I mean, yeah, or maybe I was misreading it, but it's an important thing. But it has to fit with your customer, I suppose. And
I think and ultimately
and getting as much feedback as possible. Some hotels will suit that better. If it's a party hotel, you're probably going to want some sort of restorative thing the next day. It absolutely makes sense. And if you do have a spa in the hotel, obviously you're going to make the most of that, and try and get people into the spa at all times. But are there occasions where hotels kind of undermine some of people's wellness goals?
Like a big breakfast buffet with a full English?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think the biggest one is sleep disruption. I think when you have hotel rooms that are near lifts, or people are and there's no sort of protection on there, or if people are running trolleys through doors and banging through doors at 6 o'clock in the morning,
slamming doors, and I know it's that kind of soundproofing and blackout as well. I think are sort of key, and they're key sort of building features, aren't they? That just kind of almost non-negotiables, really, aren't they, for that element?
I know that often fitness centres can be, I wouldn't say afterthought is kind of where I'm kind of going, but it's maybe been added in because they needed to have it.
Bit of a checkbox. Well, they're often in a basement and just sort of really uninspiring.
In a really dark
just a
room.
Little room.
And hard to find. And it might be quite well equipped with sort of modern equipment and everything, but there might be just something about it that is less accessible or less inviting that just kind of, I mean, they're a tick box. Yeah, you're right. It's a tick box, and often you need to have one if you want to qualify for certain corporate accounts or your OTA ratings or whatever it might be, and you have to have it. Hospitality Net definitely talk about that, and they say that underused gyms are rarely due to the lack of demand, but poor usability and intimidating layouts or unclear access. So it's something that needs to be top of your list. It needs to be something that you make it as easy and
definitely
obvious as possible.
So a really nice brand, and this is kind of going back a little while, but about 10 years ago, I had the amazing privilege of working on Hudson Yards in New York. So a completely new neighborhood built on top of the old rail yards. It was amazing. So I went out when it was still in sort of not quite hard hat, but it was very much like under development. We were at the time looking at more the sort of residential element, but within that there is Equinox, which they have, one of their kind of sub brands is Soul Cycle, and it's the amazing, you've probably seen it, but just amazing kind of fitness and wellness brand that's then integrated into the full hotel experience. So it's almost a kind of fitness first and wellness first approach to hotels. So it's a fitness brand that's then kind of been integrated into a hotel experience rather than a hotel that's then bolted on a fitness experience. But their spinning and indoor cycling workouts are amazing. I love to go. That's kind of on my would love to do list.
There's a hint dropped.
So I mean, just New York, done. But it's so I think again that's interesting, that sort of brand extension. That the DNA is very much fitness and well-being kind of from the outset. So great example to check out if you're in New York. And of course, I think there's other kind of more international similar brands that have kind of come out of that and are available in the UK. But another thing, and I know this is your bugbear, is temperature. Hotels are often
hotel room
really
temperature,
hot, aren't they? It's really hard to get that right, I think, with just,
I've always
depending on the age of the building and
AC, obviously, most hotels, whether you're in a hot country or not, they now kind of pretty much have to have it. Temperature control is so crucial, making sure that works properly, making sure that the vents are clean, everything like that. But I always find that, trying to keep a room cool is like trying to keep a drink cold while you're sitting in the bath, because I just find that the whole building with the hot water running through it and all of the showers going on at any time of day or night, and the hot water throughout the building, it's really a challenge. Some hotels, obviously, you can open windows, some you can't. Some places you could open the window and it'd be hotter outside than it would be inside. You can't. That's not really an option. But just making sure your AC works really, really well, I think is a bit of a no-brainer. I know that for sustainability reasons and for financial reasons, people switch off ACs when people aren't in the room. But making sure that suits the guest, I think, is really important. You could, in the higher end hotels, you can find out what time people are expecting to be in and out, I suppose, in a subtle way. But any way that you can try and get those temperatures right. But yeah, I struggle at night. I really do struggle at night in hotels. I always find them too warm.
Too warm, yeah. I used to have the opposite problem. So when I first moved to Thailand, I stayed in the hotel for a few weeks just while I got settled and found somewhere to live. Yeah. So it was so humid, and I think that was, whilst the temperature difference was vast, it was the humidity actually that was the kind of, the one that I needed to adjust to. But then I would go back to my hotel room and, the housekeeping team had been in and, very kindly kind of refreshed the room. But then I think because they're obviously, working in this heat, they would turn the AC down to the lowest possible. So it would often be down to like 15 degrees. Yeah. And I would come in, and kind of have that moment of relief of stepping out that sort of heat and humidity into this like absolute, it felt like a fridge. Yeah. It'd be so cold.
Half the temperature, right?
And I used to have to like heat up a hot water bottle and just put it on until the room got to a more like optimum temperature for me. But I do feel the cold.
Do they have hot water bottles in Thailand?
Well, I brought one with me for that, just in case. Never without one. Just in case. But yeah, so I think it's, again, personal preference kind of comes into play, but I think trying to get that kind of optimal temperature. So, I mean, I think that's, kind of talking about the kind of hardware and operations, and I think... And I think, if hotels are looking at kind of sleep amenities and, depending on their audience, target market, etc., and price points, then I think just layering those sleep experiences with those certain enhancements. But I think, again, it just has to be done with view of, is this a meaningful enhancement, or is it a, dare I say, a kind of PRable gimmick? I think there's that kind of, reality of is this a genuine enhancement to our target guests, and is it, do the team operationally know how it's used, the health and safety requirements, can our concierge support booking this? So I think there's all of those things that you can have these really well-meaning amenities, but if someone forgets to put them in the room, or the concierge doesn't know how to order it if it's with an external partner, or whatever that might be, I think it's that kind of execution,
consistent execution as well, like they get it right for the VIP, and then or the journalist who comes and visits, and then you start getting it wrong for actual guests, and then suddenly your Google reviews and your TripAdvisor reviews start dropping as well. Managing those expectations is it's first setting those expectations and then following through on them as well, isn't it?
Definitely. And then I think just kind of related to that point is Deloitte and PwC, which I was great up with their kind of research, but Deloitte Hospitality warns against chasing short-term trends, which can dilute brand clarity. So again, I think that's kind of just ensuring that it sort of sits within your brand pillars and DNA, and that's authentic to what you offer and your target audience. And then PwC are just saying that customer trust shows brands perform best when wellness, sustainability and health initiatives are consistent year-round and not seasonal. So I think whilst I think January is that catalyst, I think it's about, this is something that, in those stats earlier that we were talking through, that well-being, wellness is kind of part of our mindset now. Yes, January is more of a focus,
so.
But so I think, it's not just, we've got a dry January menu, or actually we need to kind of, no and low menus are year round, or kind of well-being initiatives are year round, but there might just be a bit more of a focus, I suppose, in January.
And in January maybe you might have an additional email that goes out to your guests, or you might have something added in there, just here's focus, this is the menu we have, this is our no and low menu. You might be particularly interested in January, but it runs throughout the year.
January behaviour should inform design and operations rather than sort of dictate your campaigns. January wellness is often about removing obstacles, not adding kind of additional programs that perhaps aren't meaningful. And really, that hotels don't necessarily need to become wellness experts. It's more about hosts, about being a better host often. But I think it's as we've said, the focus on well-being is just continuing to grow, and I think it's about how hotels can look at their audiences, their target guests, and really look at providing something that is meaningful, but also not forgetting about getting the basics right, like the soundproofing and the blackouts.
And if they get those basics right year round, then there won't be so much focus on January. You don't need to worry about that sort of seasonal aspect. If you get your sleep right, if you get your wellness offers right, and choice all year round, then you're going to be okay. Thank you for listening to The Halo Effect, Hospitality Stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. We hope today's episode has offered some insights and encouragement to anyone navigating the world of hospitality or entrepreneurship. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question, want to suggest a topic, or interested in just joining us as a guest, you'll find our contact details in the show notes. Don't forget to follow, like, or subscribe to The Halo Effect on your favourite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Until next time, thank you, and we can't wait to welcome you back for more stories and inspiration.